Hello. How's everybody tonight? Oh, no sound? Of course not. Can you hear me now? Hey, Chris. Hey, Chaotic, Taffy, Wild, Vinden Queries, Cher, Michelle. Hope you guys are doing well. Lake, Hope, Kaleidoscope, Hoosier, Watchdog, Cat, Wes. Hey, Wes. Hope you're doing good. CC. All right. I'm going to get right to it tonight. I'm going to do a little bit of reading first, and then we'll have a little bit of a talk. So I'm going to pull it up and then... Actually, I'm not going to pull this one up because it's got the F word in it 127 times. But there is just no... I'm sorry, my hair is all wet. There's no getting around the... It's this particular article changed. It just kind of changed my perspective on life when I first read it years ago. So I'm going to read it to you guys so that you can have a better understanding of where I'm coming from. And I'm going to not share my face while I read this. In my life, I have given a fork about many people and many things. I have also not given a fork about many people and many things, and those forks I did not give have made all the difference. People often say the key to confidence and success in life is to simply not give a fork. Indeed, we often refer to the strongest, most admirable people we know in terms of their lack of forks given. Like, oh, look at Susie, working weekends again. She doesn't give a fork. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Or, did you hear that Tom call the company president an a-hole and still got a raise anyway? Holy shit, that dude does not give a fork. Or Jason got up and ended his date with Cindy after 20 minutes. He said he wasn't going to listen to her bull anymore. Man, that guy does not give a fork. Chances are, you know somebody in your life who at one time or another did not give a fork and went on to accomplish amazing feats. Perhaps there was a time in your life when you simply did not give a fork and excelled to some extraordinary heights. I know for myself, quitting my day job in finance after only 6 weeks and telling my boss that I was going to start selling dating advice online ranks pretty high up there in my own did not give a fork Hall of Fame. Same with deciding to sell most of my possessions and move to South America. Forks given? None. Just went and did it. Now, while not giving a fork may seem simple on the surface, it's a whole new bag of burritos under the hood. I don't even know what that sentence means, but I don't give a fork. A bag of burritos sounds awesome, so let's just go with it. The point is, most of us struggle throughout our lives by giving too many forks in situations where forks do not deserve to be given. We give a fork about the rude gas station attendant who gave us too many nickels. We give a fork when a show we like got canceled on TV. We give a fork when our coworkers don't bother asking us about our awesome weekend. We give a fork when it's raining and we were supposed to go jogging in the morning. Forks given everywhere, strewn about like seeds in a mother forking springtime. And for what purpose? For what reason? Convenience? Easy comforts? A pat on the forking back, maybe? This is the problem, my friend. Because when we give too many forks, when we choose to give a fork about everything, then we feel as though we are perpetually entitled to to feel comfortable and happy at all times. That's when life forks us. Indeed, the ability to reserve our forks for only the most fork-worthy of situations would surely make life a hell of a lot easier. Failure would be less terrifying, rejection less painful, unpleasant necessities more pleasant, and the unsavory shit sandwich a little bit more savory. I mean, if we could only give a few less forks or a few more consciously directed forks, then life would feel pretty forking easy. What we don't realize is that there is a fine art of not giving a fork. People aren't just born not giving a fork. In fact, we're born giving way too many forks. Ever watch a kid cry his eyes out because his hat is the wrong shade of blue? Exactly. Fork that kid. Developing the ability to control and manage the forks you give is the essence of strength and integrity. We must craft and hone our lack of forkery over the course of years and decades. Like a fine wine, our forks must age in a fine vintage, only uncorked and given on the most special forking occasions. This may sound easy, but it's not. Most of us, most of the time, get sucked in by life's mean trivialities, steamrolled by its unimportant dramas. We live and die by the side notes and distractions and vicissitudes that suck the forks out of us like Sasha Grey in the middle of a you know what. This is no way to live, man. So stop forking around. Get your forks together and here, allow me to forking show you. Giving a fork does not mean being indifferent. It means being comfortable with being different. When most people envision giving no forks whatsoever, they envision a kind of perfect and serene indifference to everything, a calm that weathers all storms. This is misguided. There is absolutely nothing admirable or confident about indifference. People who are indifferent are lame and scared. They're couch potatoes and internet trolls. In fact, indifferent people often attempt to be indifferent because in reality, they actually give too many forks. They are afraid of the world and the repercussions of their own choices. Therefore, they make none. They hide in a gray, emotionless pit of their own making, self-absorbed and self-pitied, perpetually distracting themselves from this unfortunate thing demanding their time and energy called life. My mother was recently screwed out of a large chunk of money by a close friend of hers. Had I been indifferent, I would have shrugged my shoulders, sipped my mocha, and downloaded another season of The Wire. Sorry, Mom. But instead, I was indignant. I was pissed off. I said, no, screw that, Mom. We're going to lawyer the fork up and go after this asshole. Why? Because I don't give a fork. I will ruin this guy's life if I have to. This illustrates the first subtlety of not giving a fork. When we say, damn, watch out for Mark Manson, just doesn't give a fork, we don't mean that Mark Manson doesn't care about anything. On the contrary, what we mean is that Mark Manson doesn't care about adversity in the face of his goals. He doesn't care about pissing some people off to do what he feels is right or important or noble. What we mean is that Mark Manson is the type of guy who would write about himself in third person and use the word fork in an article 127 different times just because he thought it was the right thing to do. He just doesn't give a fork. This is what is so admirable. No, not me, dumbass. The overwhelming adversity stuff. The staring failure in the face and shoving your middle finger back at it. The people who don't give a fork about adversity or failure or embarrassing themselves or shitting the bed a few times, the people who just laugh and then do it again because they know it's right. They know it's more important than them and their own feelings and their own pride and their own needs. They say, fork it. Not to everything in life, but rather they say, fork it to everything unimportant in life. They reserve their forks for what truly forking matters. Friends, family, purpose, burritos, and an occasional lawsuit or two. And because of that, because they reserve their forks, they own for only the big things, the important things, people give a fork about them in return. To not give a fuck about, oops, slipped one time, about adversity, you must first give a fork about something more important than adversity. Eric Hoffer once wrote, "A man is likely to mind his own business when it is worth minding. When it is not, he takes his mind off his own meaningless affairs by minding other people's business." The problem with people who hand out forks like ice cream at a summer camp is that they don't have anything more fork worthy to dedicate their forks to. Think for a second. You're at a grocery store and there's an elderly lady screaming at the cashier, berating him for not accepting her 30-cent coupon. Why does this lady give a fork? It's just 30 cents. Well, I'll tell you why. That old lady probably doesn't have anything better to do with her days than sit at home cutting out coupons all morning. She's old and lonely. Her kids are jerks and never visit. She hasn't had sex in over 30 years. Her pension is on its last leg, and she's probably going to die in a diaper, thinking she is in Candyland. She can't fart without extreme lower back pain. She can't even watch TV for more than 15 minutes without falling asleep or forgetting the main plot line. So she snips coupons. That's all she's got. It's her and her damn coupons. All day, every day. It's all she can give a fork about because there is nothing else to give a fork about. And so when that pimply-faced 17-year-old cashier refuses to accept one of them, when he defends his cash register's purity with the way knights used to defend maidens' virginities, you can damn well bet Granny is going to erupt and verbally hawk smash his forking face. 80 years of forks will rain down all at once, like a fiery hailstorm back in my day, and people used to show more respect stories, boring the world around her to tears in her creaking and wobbling voice. If you find yourself consistently giving too many forks about trivial shit that bothers you, your ex-girlfriend's new Facebook picture, how quickly the batteries die in the TV remote, missing out on yet another 2-for-1 sale on hand sanitizer, chances are you don't have much going in your life to give a legitimate fork about, and that's your real problem, not the hand sanitizer. In life, our forks must be spent on something. There really is no such thing as not giving a fork. The question is simply how we each choose to allot our forks. We only get a limited number of forks to give over your lifetime, so you must spend them with care. As my father used to say, forks don't grow on trees, Mark. Okay, he never actually said that, but fork it. Pretend like he did. The point is that forks have to be earned and then invested wisely. Forks are cultivated like a beautiful forking garden where if you fork shit up and the forks get forked, then your forks all the fork up. We all have a limited number of forks to give. Pay attention to where and who you give them to. When you're young, we have tons of energy. Everything is new and exciting, and everything seems to matter so much. Therefore, we give tons of forks. We give a fork about everything and everyone, about what people are saying about us, about whether the cute boy, girl called us back or not, about whether our socks match or not, or what color our birthday balloon is. As we get older, we gain experience and we begin to notice that most of these things have little lasting impact on our lives. Those people's opinions we cared so much before have long been removed from our lives. We found the love we need, and so those embarrassing romantic rejections cease to mean much of anything. We realize how little people pay attention to the superficial details about us, and we focus on doing things more for ourselves rather than for others. Essentially, we become more selective about the forks we're willing to give. This is something called maturity. It's nice. You should try it sometime. Maturity is what happens when one learns to only give a fork about what truly fork is truly fork worthy. As Bunk Moreland said in The Wire, which fork you I still downloaded. To his partner, Detective McNulty, "That's what you get for giving a fork when it wasn't your turn to give a fork." Then, as we grow older and enter middle age, something else begins to change. Our energy level drops, our identities solidify, we know who we are, and we no longer have a desire to change what now seems inevitable in our lives. In a strange way, this is liberating. We no longer need to give a fork about everything. Life is just what it is. We accept it, warts and all. Then somehow, one day, much later, we wake up and we're old. And all along with our gum lines, our ability to give a fork has receded to the point of non existence. In the twilight of our days, we carry out a paradoxical existence where we no longer have the energy to give a fork about the big things in life. And instead, we must dedicate the few forks we have left to the simple and mundane, yet increasingly difficult aspects of our lives. Where to each lunch, doctor's appointment, to our creaky joints, 30-cent discounts at the supermarket, and driving without drifting to sleep and killing a parking lot full of orphans, practical concerns. Then one day, on our deathbed, surrounded by the people we gave the majority of our forks to throughout our lives, and those few who still give a fork about us, with a silent gasp, we will gently let our last fork go. Through tears and the gently fading beeps of the heart monitor and the dimming fluorescent encapsulating us in a divine hospital halo, we drift into some unknown and unforkable void. Namaste, fork face. So, I've been silent this whole time. The whole time, though. It was probably a good thing. I just kind of went on a rant. Hopefully you guys heard me reading that whole time. Did you hear me read anything? Okay. Thank you, like, yeah. So hopefully that helps you to better understand me. I get my forks. I don't give them away. I don't strew them about. So when it comes to the things that really forking matter, I have them to give. And this matters. And I don't really forking care if you don't like it. Like, if it doesn't matter to you, go do something else. If it does, and you can see the actual point, then that's great. If not, I really don't fucking care. Um, I read that article a long time ago. I'm not an indifferent person, but I definitely did find myself strewing them about, getting upset about the double line at McDonald's, getting upset about the people that think that they are more important than everybody else, getting upset about this and about that and about this. And then I read that and I was like, holy crap. If I continue to do this, I'm going to run out and I'm not going to have any for when I really need them. And so, yeah, I started just saving them up, and so I've just been saving them and just not giving a fork here, not giving a fork there. And so now I have plenty to give, and I'm going to. And I can't, I'm going to try to make a go at this. I'm going to try the YouTube thing, in the real crime genre. I've been trying to be more consistent. And if I'm going to do that, I know myself really well. And I know that I need to guard my mental health. And I cannot take on a lot of victims' families because I get way too overly involved. And it's a lot to do with OCD. It's a lot to do with just making sure I consciously make the right choices. But when it comes to Greeno, he doesn't affect my life. So I'm not OCD about him. Like, I'm not all up in a tizzy, trying to make sure that he's okay and that I'm doing everything that I can to help him, because he is, by talking about him and telling the truth about him, what I'm actually doing is helping a lot of victims from the past. Hopefully I can help them heal and realize they're not alone. Present, hopefully they will hear something that I've said or written and they will stop supporting him in all ways, not just monetarily. And hopefully that I can help future victims' families. That's my goal, is that there isn't another family that this jerk bamboozles into them trusting him and being vulnerable and then getting shit on by him. And so I am going to give my fucks about it. And if you don't like it, that's your problem. It really is your problem. It's not my problem. There's a saying, I'll screw it all up, but like, don't blame me for your problems. Like, I totally can't even remember. Never mind. I can't remember it. Yeah, Wes, you got to budget your forks. You sure do. And when you do budget them, then you find that, like he did with his mom, it's like, oh no, mama, like, we are going to lawyer the fork up and we're going to handle our business. And because he has them to give. And so that is the key. That is one of the cornerstones of my philosophy on life. It really is just, I mean, obviously it's not the only one. It's just a big part of it. And it's very liberating and very, like, you're free once you can consciously be like, yeah, like, I'm just not going to get upset about the dryer breaking again. I'm just going to laugh about it. Like, you don't know how many times I am just a klutz. I just, every time I go on a vacation, I seem to get up in some kind of a disaster. Like, it's pretty ridiculous. But occasionally I've broke down, but I really just, like, you can't, there's times in life when you just have to laugh. Like, literally in Alabama, my neck froze on the day I was supposed to leave and I couldn't move it. And I had to drive all the way home by myself. So I finally get over that hurdle with some help from my good friend Monica. And I get to the gas station and pump my gas and get back in the car and I'm like, ready to go home. Yeah, let's do it. And I swear there was a whole hill of ants, like the whole hill, the whole mound of them landed in my front seat, like in my seat. I had ants all over me. And so I'm like, all right, well, glad I'm at a gas station. This really sucks, but just get over it. So I go in the gas station and get me a big spray. Give me some spray ant. Yeah, that's important. I got an aerosol spray Spray my car all down, killing the ants everywhere, dead ants everywhere, sweeping it out, get it all sweeped out, get in. I'm like, finally, wasted an hour, but here we go. I'm getting it. No sooner did I get on the interstate than I realized that now I am hiring 10 hippies on ant spray. So I'm having to drive with my windows down, kind of doing one of these moves out the side of the window so that I can breathe. And there's a traffic jam. My air conditioner decides that it wants to not work at full capacity. I don't know if y'all have ever been to Alabama in August, but it's hot, 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 hot. And so, yeah. And I drove like that and I didn't stop. And it's just funny. Like, you can't be mad. Like, you can't give a fork about it because those kinds of things happen. They happen to everybody, And so that's kind of like the premise of it, is just knowing that, like, those are the things that a lot of people give their forks about. They let it ruin their entire day, And when you can learn to, like, oh, well, and am I always a pro at it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You can ask my friends. But when you get pretty good at it, then you have a lot of forks to give when it comes to Rene Anthony Charles Greeno of True Crime Investigates. But unfortunately, the Carroll County Jail allows their inmates to have access just kind of basically whenever they want all day, as long as they're not in their cell, when their cell's not locked. So since that's the case, he's just, up in there emailing. Apparently they have access to messages of some kind. So he's messaging and calling. And I want to stop and say this, and I want this to be made very clear. Yes, his alleged girlfriend is the one that contacted me. Am I angry with her? Do I blame her? Absolutely not. I absolutely do not. Why? Because she is a victim. She is a victim, and therefore I'm not going to be showing her name. I'm not going to be using her name. I would never do that. And find me sometime when I intentionally just dox somebody. We're going to talk about that too, because I'm getting real forking sick of being accused of it. I don't do that. I'm nobody's girlfriend. I've had a man, and all these people that are out here accusing me of sleeping with him. We're going to look at a little law I found earlier. Because I've been with my partner for 15 years. Cheating is about you and nobody else. And I don't do it. It's absolutely not. So I've never been in a relationship. Just hear that. And I know pretty much everyone in here that's commenting doesn't think that. Hey, Lips. Hey, True Crime Maria. I'm glad you're here. Unroyal. What's up, dude? Angel Bear. Glad you guys stopped by. Thank you, True Crime Maria. I'm trying. So I do not hold any ill will towards her. I really do. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm not gonna pull it up on the screen because, again, I do view her as a present victim of Greeno, and I truly do view. I truly do think that one day me and her are going to be able to have a conversation, and we're gonna be able to laugh about this, and I have a feeling that we will end up being friends. I really do. Um, there's just something about her that reminds me of my sister, and I know I don't know her, but I feel like I do, and I just see in her a strength and a fierceness that I don't think she knows she has yet. And so I want to tell this because this is 100% about Greeno. And the reason that I am um coming on here is because I will not be intimidated by that little weasel. I will not. I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to go away. I'm not doing anything wrong. You cannot get someone to cease and desist and sue them for telling the truth. You can't, okay? I understand that other people feel differently. Um, I know what coercive control can do to victims. I know what wearing a victim down, wearing them to the point where they'll just do anything to get you to be quiet. Just like, okay, fine, you know? And I know what it's like to be terrified of what that person can do to your life. And I know what it's like. Well, I mean, I can't say that I know what it's like, but I can empathize with what it's like to love. Well, yes, I can. Yeah, I can. I have a family member that is a complete psychopath. And I wasted a lot of times giving a fork about what she thought of me. And yeah, and so when I stopped, it was just like, yeah, I literally, so I do know what it's like to love somebody that is not they lack the things that make us human, because the things that make us human are empathy. And I truly believe that Greeno is a psychopath. And he's also a true crime case. And there would be I've seen it. There hasn't been a single hate shade thrown my way one time when I have been talking about Garrett Kurtz, Christopher Mathis, Anthony Dabaya, all of the suspects in different cases, serial killers. No one ever one time has, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that you're doxing Ted Bundy. Huh. Are you serious?" Greeno is a true crime case. Like, how many more people have to tell you that? Okay? He's a true crime case. Just point blank, period. He is. So stop it with that. Okay? And the thing is about him is the swindler has put himself in the public. I mean, he's self-proclaimed famous, and a reality star. But he has put himself in the public platforms, and he will do so at any chance that he gets. So therefore, and he has publicly released his own name. Do you hear that? Like, he's done that. Okay. I'm going to read. So on Friday, wait, let me make sure that it was Friday. No, it wasn't. I'm in the wrong place too. So on Wednesday, just this past Wednesday, at 1:58 p.m., I get a phone call from a place of business that does pop up to a business that I have heard about. But it does not pop up until after I answer. So I say hello. The person on the other end says, "Is this Mel?" And I say, "Yeah, this is Mel." And she promptly hangs up. I'm like, "Well, that's weird." Look at the number. Oh, okay. All right. I can take a couple guesses of what that's about. Let's have a conversation. So I call back. She doesn't answer. Now this person knows my address, my my real name. Obviously, Mel is not, you know, it is a nickname that I've had since I was little, well, on and off in adolescence, but mostly in high school and beyond. If you can believe it, I worked with someone with my weird name, and my name is a very unique name, and so when people know it, there's only one. For the safety of my family and my two daughters living in Indiana and things that are nobody's business, I do not want to be out there publicly. I'm public enough, and once I realized what the plan was, and trust me, I know this is Greeno. I know that he has probably wore her to the ground of I gotta put a stop to them. I'm not gonna get a come to have my probation in with you if you don't do A, B, C, and D. This is all up to you. And if you choose not to help me, then I'm probably just gonna die. I can just hear him now because he's a type. He's a type of man. It's Melvin, right? Corinne saw Jess's video and thank God she wised up. Yes. That's why I love Jess's video, and I'm so glad that she did that. And I'm really happy for the other fiance that she was able to get away. So I had called back Wednesday, and it was literally 1 minute prior to that. So you can ask my friends, like, because, like, I think, I don't want to get emotional, but I think I'm trying to think how to word this. I think I was more hurt, to be honest. That her in particular, being a mother of two girls as well, would do that. Because I have this, and maybe she just doesn't know this, but I have, like, my mission to bring awareness about Greeno has absolutely nothing to do with her. I don't even want her to be a consequential victim of it. Unfortunately, this is his pattern. This is what he does. And so, no, not Mel for Melvin. Oh, no, it's not Melvin. But this I have been since I told him that if he screwed over Ray and Nicole's family, that I would most definitely go level 12 psycho on anyone that hurt them. He turned around and did it. So this isn't something that's new. This isn't just past November, December. This literally goes all the way back. You can scroll my whole Facebook. It's open. I don't have you blocked. And you can see the posts from back in 2020 into 2020, at the very least, of when I have started to publicly talk about him and say the truth about him. This has nothing to do with you. It's never had anything to do with anybody except for him and trying to possibly help girlfriends get away from him. And so I felt like, I guess I was just kind of shocked a little bit that he has that kind of power over someone. I don't know if that's I mean, I guess I shouldn't be shocked. I volunteer at Sheltering Wings. I know, um, I know the type and I know how persuasive they are. Oh yeah, I got you, Angel Bear. I remember that. And I know how persuasive they are and how manipulative they can be and how they are intimidating, and they don't have to hit you in order to be abusing you. They really don't. And I guess it just kind of really hurt that it was another mother of 2 daughters that, like, obviously I don't think Greeno's going to care about kids. I mean, let's just be real. But I don't know. I just thought that would be a thing. And then really scared of the consequences of not for myself, but for the people that I love. Of I've done this to them. I have to live with the choices that I've made. And if my information gets put out there publicly, I have to live with that because of the choices that I've made. They didn't make those choices though. And that's on me. I did that to them. If they were to have to be careful and look over their shoulder and take self-defense classes, because let's just be real, his lawyer is pretty terrifying. Scares me. And he is. And I don't have the right to have to put that fear on them. And I thought I had done a really good job of hiding my identity enough that, other than if someone was just like really intent, maybe they could do like facial recognition. I honestly don't think I have very many public pictures out there that could definitely be identified as me. I've tried to keep my online life and my real life very separate. I'm not even one that takes pictures in the moments because I just want to enjoy the moments. And sometimes I regret that because then I don't have enough, I feel like, pictures for my kids' sake. But I really do just try to be present. Like, I try my hardest to be present in those moments. And so I really do kind of live my life, like, not even thinking about social media or anywhere. But because of my unique name, unfortunately, when Greeno does do that, which I'm sure he will, he's already doxed me 3 times with the Mel Roberts of Avon, Indiana. Like, he legitimately thinks that's, my name and my town, and so that's doxing. Is it a crime? We're gonna read about it, but so it's a scary position to be in. But at the end of the day, I will not be intimidated. I will not be threatened. I will not have a veiled threat to be quiet. Like, that's not in my nature, so come at me, bro. I'm sure that like I said, well, here's the frame. Let's go ahead and, oh no, I better not have broke it. Wow, it's really stuck. So here's the frame I got, because, like, I didn't know what size I would get or if I'd ever actually get it. And so I just got like a really big one to be able to like put it. And you can see like it's new. I'm not lying about it. So I got that, and because, I just take that out. Like, that's just like paper. And then I could just, hang it right over here on this wall like that. And then I thought, and then I can kind of turn and have like a little corner. But I've just been kind of waiting, and I have some stickers to go on it. I started kind of collecting them. I don't have a big collection, but I have some. We'll look at my stickers. Of course, I got my girl. Chaotic. I have my girl CJ from Rainbow. I think I have another one of her too. Yeah, I got that one. And then I got these two funny guys, Podeskew. I met them on Get Vocal. And then I was definitely going to get the one from Gray, because I already have and I know what all of those little, all of the things on the thumbnail, like, because I have followed his channel from all the way back in the day. So I know what all of those mean. And so, but yeah, like, I'm collecting stickers. If anybody finds any really awesome stickers, make sure you let me know. And if there's a discount, I would love to get your stickers. I want to put them, they'll have to be organized. So I don't know, but I want to kind of, if the cease and desist happens to be smaller, I was thinking that I could do stickers around it of just, just joy, just things to make me happy in life. I did make a cease and desist for myself and a few friends that I assumed if I'm getting a cease and desist, then they're definitely getting one. So I made one for Gray, and I made one for Can't Stop, Won't Stop, because I'm sure she'll get one too. But my thinking is that he wants my address, because he wants to send me a big formal, cease and desist, which that's not really what they are. So, oh, you do? Oh, good. I want stickers. I'm excited. One day I'm going to have a green screen, but I don't know how I would have it with my daughter still having her clothes back there. But once I have the green screen, then I can just have Sticker City. Whew, so fun. But yeah, so that's what happened this week. And you get by with a little help from your friends, and my friends, Hoosier, Cold Cases, Lake, Crime, Amy, and a few other that don't want to be mentioned. I really appreciate you guys talking me through this week and helping me make good decisions, and I really appreciate you. I really do. And I was going to read you the email that I decided to send. And I have not got any responses back, but that's okay. Okay. The call. Hello. You called me yesterday from your work. Blank. I'm going to leave that blank. Ask, quote, is this Mel? Then hung up. I called you back and you didn't answer. Because of your relationship with Rene Anthony Charles Greeno, to whom I have been openly telling the truth about his criminal acts, as well as the lies he tells publicly, in parentheses, he uses his full legal name and Anthony Greeno on his multiple platforms, in parentheses, to which some of those lies affect innocent people getting hurt by him, including Ray Hainish and Nicole Bowen's family members, myself, and many others. I am not doing anything wrong in my quest to inform the public about him. My hope is to be a voice for the past, present, and future victims, which is within my right to do so. That said, your being his alleged girlfriend and calling me the way you did was frightening because I do not use my personal information online. I see no other reason why you would be calling me except to scare and intimidate me, which you have done. I have 2 daughters and a family that doesn't deserve to be in fear of you and Anthony. Because my wanting to spread awareness on my platform. I really do hope you can escape his coercive, controlling hold and find someone worthy of you, Mel. And I absolutely do 100% mean that last sentence. When someone, I know that this isn't her. I know that it's him. I know that he's doing this, and he's probably, like, the thing is like you can print off a cease and desist, because they really don't mean anything in a court of law. They're just kind of a warning, so you can like literally print them off for absolutely free. You don't have to pay for them, and you can fill them out and you can send them to whomever, and you don't need someone's address to do so. So there's that. So what I want to do next is obviously protecting victims, and that's what I can use my platform for. I'm going to look at my table of contents real quick to make sure I'm not leaving anything out, because I gave myself a schedule. I even gave myself a little break. We're going to have a little intermission. Oh, really? Apparently, I've got to update. So I'll check that in a minute. I had put in here that I was going to share the screenshots, but I've decided against that. And I also had prepared the screenshots from the fake accounts that have been attacking me and saying weird stuff about me sexually and having some kind of involvement with him. I had that all ready to go, but they're probably her. And so I'm sure for law enforcement, that would be like really easy to find out who those accounts belong to. There was a new one that popped up today of just, well, it came out in your 4.5-hour long rant about him that the reason that you are doing this is just because he broke up with you. Fuck that guy. Do you really think that I would date that little peon? Come on now. Like, absolutely not. Never happened. Never will. Never would. Point blank period. Gross. I'm sorry if you don't find him gross. I do. Hey, bloke. Oh, man, that stinks. Loud neighbors can't sleep. Yeah, 'cause it's late for you. Yeah, true crime, Maria, it is. It's creepy and it's disturbing and, like, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Like, I know that he's a piece of shit. I know that apparently Carroll County Jail, who'd have thought he would have so much power in jail? Like, I don't know. I'm familiar with some other jails because of the stuff I get up into with other cases. Um, and Marion County is not like that at all. They don't have tablets. They don't have access to be able to email and message people. They can't just call whenever they want. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. And my friend called and asked, and wow, okay. The response was like, well, they could just block him. And I don't have to answer. And it's like, yeah, but he's threatening people from behind your jail, Like he's trying to intimidate people into being silent and not telling the truth. Well, he ain't gonna do that to me. He can fuck off. I'm not gonna be silent. He's not gonna scare me. Like, he's just not. Yeah, it bothers me for the sake of my children, my 2 teenage daughters, um, especially via, uh, another mother with 2 little girls, but again, she is a victim. I'm very familiar with what these types of men, the power that they hold over women. They don't have sometimes they don't even have to lay a hand on you, um, in order to scare you and break you down to where you feel like you're nothing. And when you get to that point and you haven't learned that to love yourself, um, uh, these types of men, these men that don't care about anything but what they want. And they're very tricksters. They're tricksters. They can trick you into, oh wait, well, yes, yes. Oh, I thought you said and revenge porn. Sorry. I don't know of any revenge porn. He definitely doesn't have any on me. Um, but yeah, I think that is something that he probably does use. I know he's done it to one girlfriend a long time ago, a few years back. So he does do those kinds of things to women and lets them know that if you basically like the veiled threats are real, I'm sure. And that just really sucks. And I have I have understanding and I also have empathy for her, and I honestly, I know I'm gonna say this again because I know there's new people in here. I do not blame her for what he's put her up to. I really don't. I 100% know this is Greeno, and he's the one that I'm pissed at. It does make me sad that it's another mother, but, even in that, I've seen, like I said, working at a shelter, you hear a lot of stories and you can see how it develops and how it slowly becomes something, You become something that you never thought you would be. And you also got to remember that my passion for giving my fucks about Greeno also come from the fact that my friend was murdered by her abuser. And he was a Greeno type. He was the smooth talker. He was so smooth, you guys. He had half the town full. The part of the town that didn't know who he really was, they thought he hung the moon, just very, very just Rico Suave, Behind closed doors, he was not that way. But the thing is like he didn't lay his hands on her very much at all. I think only a couple times. But it was all about power to him, and it was all about control. And that power and control led him to do horrible things to her. And when she finally got away, and we helped her, we all worked together. And it was one night. He had done something that he had the courts put a protective order on her and the two young daughters. And that she was getting ready to be gone and away from living in fear of what he would do. And he broke into her house. He planned it. He went and bought a knife. He sat at Rick's boatyard. They had to make him leave. Then he sat in a church parking lot. He sat in a church parking lot to wait till it got late enough to break into her home and mutilate her body while her children were laying in her arms sleeping. Why? Why did he do that? Because she was property, and she dared to go against him. She dared to do that. I'll show you. He mutilated her so bad that her own mother couldn't even hold a little bit of her hand to say goodbye. He tore out her implants that he made her get. It was just really bad. And it was all about power and control. And he had lost his control, and he wasn't going to have that. She was going to pay with her life. And he's done a few interviews from prison. And he not a sorry bone in his body, but he's real smooth. Everybody likes Joe. Everybody likes Joe. Oh, Joe. Oh, Joe. No. He was going to make his two little girls testify in court, and so the lawyer decided to take a plea. And for their sake, they had been through enough. They were bloody. They were found bloodied and in a closet. While he did this, and he wasn't there for just a few minutes. It was a long time. And he still sees those two girls as property. And I know because he got on the news and said so. How dare the state let her family take my kids out of Indiana so that I can't see them and they can't come and visit me. They want nothing to do with him. They're terrified of him. And you know what's going to happen is because he still views them as his property. They belong to him. He's going to get out, and not because he loves them, not because he misses them. He's incapable of that. But he's going to get out, and he is going to find those kids, and they are doing so well. One is a model in New York City. The other one is, I believe, in her first wait, no, they're like right in between my girls. So, I think she's in her first or second year or last year of high school or first year of college. I'm pretty sure. But they're beautiful. They are happy. They are loved. And the day that man gets out, their little lives have to go back to fear. And so, because I have studied Greeno, I have poured over countless domestic violence affidavits of that man and seen what he has done to women since 2005. And next week, I'm going to have the physical, like 2005. I'll have it in my possession. And then that's when I'm going to start reading his affidavits, because that's not my opinion. That is, and he pled guilty to all those. So he did do them. He did abuse that many women multiple times, on some over and over again. So let's go through some comments. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't trigger you. Childhood trauma is definitely, and that's the thing, is like our past define who we become, and we can either let it define us in a negative way, or we can use it and be empowered by it. And I'll be damned if I don't try to help victims of domestic violence before they're dead. Because let's just face it, the justice system just doesn't. It doesn't. Those pieces of paper are useless. But safe havens and shelters, and just knowing the signs when you're dating. You guys realize how bad domestic abuse is in our children's relationships? Like, the statistics are getting lower and lower, and violence, sexual violence, like inside of relationships, is at an all-time high, and it's starting younger and younger. No one has a right to coerce or force themselves on you, ever. Not in a relationship, not at any time. No one has a right to do that. No one. And so it's okay. I want to tell her story because I want to um I want to explain why I am so passionate and why I choose to give my fucks, because I think it's important for people to understand that. Especially if I'm about to be doxxed, and hopefully people will have a little bit of grace and realize that I've had the best of intentions, and to please shut those kinds of things down, if you see them. And I'm going to take just a little bit of a break so I can go pee. And then I have a few more things that I would like us to do tonight as a group. And then we'll close up. And my friend, Who's Your Cold Cases, is going to be going live at 11:30. And we got to be there. So I am really excited that he's been very supportive of me. And, and that's the thing, is like, in this world for women that have been abused. Guys like him, guys like that, like Bloke saying of he's lived that his childhood. I've heard him openly talk about it several times and what it's like to grow up in that kind of a household. Those are the kind of conversations. Yeah, they suck. Like, I'm upset for talking about that, my friend, but they do make a difference and they can save a life. And that's why it's important to tell who you are and why you do what you do. Does it give anyone the right to put your name and address out there in the public? No. And hopefully he thinks better of that, and hopefully that doesn't happen. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be threatened into, well, if you shut up, then I won't do that. No, absolutely not. I know your number, buddy, and I'm not playing that game. You do what you got to do. If you got to put my address and my real name out there because I wouldn't shut up about you because you tried to intimidate me and threaten me into silence for telling the truth, do what you got to do. I hope it turns out real well for you and karma's a bitch. And on that note, I'm going to take a little break. And I was going to try to get some music. I know you guys didn't hear it last time, but I found this Nexus. I hope I'm saying it right. And they have some songs and I was like, I like them. So, and they're copyright free, which is so hard to find. So I'm going to play that while we take a little break. Geek Mom 2. Hi, and Faye. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Aw, and Shanda. What's up, girl? Uh-oh. Hmm. Oh, you know what? That's not shameful at all. That's brave, girl. That's brave. Like sometimes we have to humble ourselves and admit that we need help, and everybody needs help sometimes. So, and that's completely okay. And that you had the wisdom to know that, like, you needed that and you asked for it. Props to you. External has never gotten to a point of craziness. I think it has how one is raised, not that it has to be set in stone. Abuse is insecurity. Yes, it is insecurity. Right. Never back down from a bully. Not one that is threatening you and veiled threats and that kind of thing. No, that's I don't give a fuck about that. You heard me read my article, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fork. And, thank you. Well, yeah. Yep. Yep. Sometimes. But there are shelters that can help. The thing is that when you're leaving an abusive relationship, everybody pretty much knows that is that first, that's the scariest time. And you have to be willing to give up everything in order to save your own life and the lives of your children. You have to be able to walk away from your job, from your house, from your car, from your family, from the pleasantries of life, the amenities of life. And you have to be willing to do all of that, because if you don't, you won't be able to ever do any of that again. And Angie did everything right until that last day. And not that she deserved to die, but just you'll understand when I say it. She wanted one more night. She didn't want to go to a shelter, and she wanted one more night in her home with her girls. Like, how sad is that? That you can't even have that. Just one more night to cuddle in bed and eat cookies and make crafts in your house before you go on the run. And unfortunately, she put too much trash out on the curb. So when he was stalking the house, he realized that they were leaving, and that's when he broke in and killed her. Yeah, so you have to be able to walk away from work too. That's what I mean. Um, you have to be willing to walk away from everything, and it is difficult. Um, I have met some ladies over the years that I'll never forget one, terrified in the safest place that she could be, absolutely terrified, shaking. A little boy. I'll tell you when I get back. But yeah, absolutely terrified, because he had thrown Just I don't know what the substance was, but it left burns all over her. Just the saddest thing you'd ever seen. And her little boy was there as well, and this little boy had tried to save his mom, and his arm got in the way of that chemical, and so he had his own scars. You know, that's why I do what I do. All right, Cher. So what we're going to do is Sheltering Wings is very near and dear to my heart. And if anyone has the means, I hope that you donate to them. I can personally attest to the awesomeness of this organization, and with COVID and what's going on in our country, these shelters are overrun and they don't have enough funds. They don't have enough food. They don't have enough beds. They don't have enough things for the kids. There's just a real need in these shelters. And so I thought that I would highlight Sheltering Wings. I'm sorry, bloke. Got scars, none self-inflicted, thank God. But that's always hated that. That is a method for some. I feel for them, but please remember, don't make a temporary issue permanent, and that you are loved. Absolutely. There is help and you can get out. You can. And those scars don't need to define you. So I'm going to share my screen. Hope I'm going to do it right. I'm going to take comment off. So I did that last time. I sure wish I could have like a cool screen like gray and like it's not this ugly thing. Like, ugh, that drives me nuts. I want it to be not that. But oh well. Where is it? Nope. Here it is. So this is Sheltering Wings. And this section and this is all of this information that I'm sharing tonight is in the description of this video. And the question is, am I being abused? You can be abused and not even know it. And abuse of any kind is never your fault. No one deserves to be abused. No one has the right to abuse another. And this is kind of a checklist. These are the different types of abuse. I'll read this too. They just lose their temper sometimes and throw things, hit me, call me stupid, withhold cash when it's over. They're fine. It's not fine. If we're afraid to disappoint or contradict someone close to us because they might overreact with physical or mental violence, then they are controlling us through fear. That's abuse, and it's wrong. Abusers use physical, sexual, digital, emotional, verbal, spiritual, or financial control, or combinations of these to gain and maintain. I should make sure everybody can hear me. Can everybody hear me? Okay, I think ding, ding, ding means you can. So I'll continue to read. Even if they don't leave visible bruises, they're still harming you. It's still abuse. How do you know? And this is a checklist. If the answer is yes to even one of these questions, you may be the victim of abuse. Have you changed your normal activities to avoid upsetting your partner? Does your partner pretend he or she is doing you a favor by staying with you? Do you feel controlled or intimidated by your partner? Do they follow or spy on you, leave threatening notes, text, or phone messages, make you leave location sharing active 24/7, or call to check in numerous times a day? Do they force you to perform sexual acts when you don't want to? Are you afraid of your partner blowing up? Have they damaged or threatened to damage your personal belongings as punishment or to get a reaction? Does your partner withhold food, medicine, or transportation from you? Do they say no one else would care about you if they didn't? Do they insult you, call you names, or make you feel stupid, useless, or unworthy? Have they ever hit, slapped, pushed, yanked on, or kicked you in anger, even lightly? Has your partner violated a protective order in the past? Has your partner prevented you or the children from leaving by threatening physical harm? Have they threatened to hurt or kill you, someone you love, a pet, or themselves? Have they injured you, your children, or others enough to need medical attention? Do they threaten you or those you love with weapons or other objects? This treatment isn't loving or caring. If you answered yes to even one of these questions, call our 24/7 helpline at 317-745-1496, and let's figure out how to get your life back. Men are victim of domestic abuse too. More than 1 in 4 men in the United States experience rape, physical violence, or stalking, and like women, they often face disbelief and ridicule when they have the courage to admit it. Speak up. Don't cover it up. If your relationship feels uncomfortable, tense, or frightening, trust your feelings and get help. As you're making arrangements to leave, you can take the following steps to protect yourself. Call our 24/7 helpline, and I have some others linked up here for the national ones. Talk to someone you trust, such as a friend, counselor, doctor, neighbor, or coworker. Avoid being alone with your abuser. Always carry a cell phone. Save threatening or harassing text and social media messages. That's very important. Begin creating a safety plan, which is of utmost importance if you are ready to leave. Nobody deserves to be abused. It may feel hopeless today, but you can protect yourself and take back the control you lost. There is always hope, and we can help. Safety plans are so important, and they have a download that you can download and personalize yours. If you are in an abusive situation and are not able or ready to leave, it's important to think about how to keep yourself safe. A safe plan can help lower risk and optimize safety during and after the relationship has ended. Your plan should include places you could go if you left your home and people who might help you when you leave. It is your decision to let others know that you are in an abusive relationship or still at risk. Things to do. Pack a bag that will allow you to leave quickly and include items such as money, pay as you go cell phone, or be sure to turn off location and GPS tracking on smartphones. Keys to car, home, or work, change of clothes for you and your children, address book with numbers of friends, relatives, doctors, lawyers, driver's license and car registration, emergency medicine, special and or comfort items for your children, copies of important papers such as birth certificates, social security cards, credit cards, personal protective order, divorce papers, and custody orders. Victims of sexual violence statistics. And unfortunately, a lot of sexual violence occurs in relationships. Juveniles, 82% of all juvenile victims are female. 90% of adult rape victims are female. Females aged 16 to 19 are 4 times more likely than the general populations to be victims of rape, attempted rape, or sexual assault. Women age 18 to 24 or college students are 3 times more likely than women in general to experience sexual violence. Females of the same age who are not enrolled in college are 4 times more likely. And this just is a really great, amazing organization. And so is this you can find a lot of really helpful information if you like to study this kind of thing on the Bureau of Justice Statistics. And I'm trying to see. The national number is 1-800-799-7233. And this site is phenomenal for getting help when you need it. And just sometimes, you need that, like, am I being abused? And that's why I think that was so important for me to read from Sheltering Wings. Because a lot of men, like, they don't realize that they are being abused because it's just kind of like they do it so slowly and methodically, especially the type that abuse by manipulation and coercion and veiled threats and are not just like physically violent, the controlling, the power, the ones that are driven by power and control and they want to dominate, but they may not, that doesn't always mean that they just hit. And they even have where if you need to get out of this website quick, and get it to be gone from your history, like, you click these buttons here. Leave this site safely. You can quickly leave this website by clicking the X in the top right or pressing the escape key twice. To browse this site safely, be sure to regularly clear your browser history. Like, they literally just think of everything. You can text, you can chat, you can call. They tell you exactly what you're going to expect. They have plans, they have resources locally, identify abuse, support others, get involved, get help. Wow. I credit the hotline for saving my life from an abuser, giving me the facts I needed in an emergency to equip myself to get out. So again, it's 1-800-799-SAFE. Okay. What is doxing? We're going to segue into the next part of this, of just kind of letting people know, because I think there's a lot of confusion on laws and what is it to dox someone. So the definition is, term doxing in short is for dropping docs. Docs being slang for documents. Typically, doxing is a malicious act used against people with whom the hacker disagrees or dislikes. Doxing is the act of revealing identity information about someone online, such as their real name, home address, workplace phone, financials, and other personal information. That information is then circulated to the public without the victim's permission. While the practice of revealing personal information without one's consent predates the internet, the term doxing first emerged in the world of online hackers in 1999, where anonymity was considered sacred. Feuds between rival hackers would sometimes lead to someone deciding to drop dox on somebody else who had previously only been known as a username or alias. Dox became dox and eventually became a verb by itself. The definition of doxing has expanded to beyond the hacker world community and now refers to personal information exposure. While the term is still used to describe the unmasking of anonymous users, that aspect has become less relevant today when most of us are using our real names in social media. Recently, doxing has become a tool in the culture of wars, with rival hackers doxing those who hold opposing views the opposite side. What is the doxing is home addresses, workplace details, personal phone numbers, social security numbers, bank account or credit card information, private correspondence, criminal history, personal photos, embarrassing personal details. Where was that? The most common doxing situations tend to fall into these three categories: releasing an individual's private personal identity, identifying information online, revealing previous unknown information of a private person online, releasing information of a private, notice the word private, person online, could be damaging to their reputation or those of their personal and or professional associates. Is doxing illegal? Doxing can ruin lives as it can expose targeted individuals and their families to both online and real world harassment, but is it illegal? The answer is usually no. Doxing tends to not be illegal. It is the information exposed lies within the public domain, and it was obtained using legal methods. That said, depending on your jurisdiction, doxing may fall foul of laws designed to fight stalking, harassment, and threats. It is also depends on the specific information revealed. For example, disclosing someone's real name is not as serious as revealing their home address or telephone number. However, in the US, doxing a government employee falls under federal conspiracy laws and is seen as a federal offense. Because doxing is a relatively recent phenomenon, the laws around it are constantly evolving and are not always clear cut. Regardless of the law, doxing violates many websites' terms of service and therefore may result in a ban. This is because doxing is usually seen as unethical and is mostly carried out with malicious intent to intimidate, blackmail, and control others, exposing them to potential harassment, identity theft, humiliation, loss of jobs, rejection from family and friends. What is defamation? This is the Indiana code. Defamation or slander. So, in an action for libel, libel is basically written things that are false. When you write something that is false about someone, slander is when you speak something that is false about someone. So it is in an action for libel or slander, it is sufficient to state generally that the defamatory matter published or spoken was about the plaintiff. If the defendant denies the allegation, the plaintiff must prove at trial the facts shown that the defamatory matter was published or spoken about the plaintiff. Truth mitigating circumstances and evidence. In an action for libel or slander, the defendant may allege the truth of the matter charged as defamatory. So the defamatory was actually true, and mitigating circumstances to reduce the damages and give either or both in evidence. The standard proof in actions for libel or slander. Abrogation, which is just like negate of reasonable doubt standards. So the plaintiff has to prove that there have been libelous or slanderous defamation of character about them. It has to be false. 2, it can't be true. The proof of an answer of justification in cases of libel and slander in control by the rule that applies to the proof of issues in other civil cases. Chapter source of notice, retraction, mitigating damages. In this chapter, publishing, speaking, or uttering, conveying by words, acts, or in any other manner a libel or slander by any radio or television station or company in Indiana. This chapter does not apply to case of libel or slander against a candidate for a public office. So that's just a little bit about what defamation of character is. What is a cease and desist? A cease and desist letter is common method used in an attempt to resolve a dispute between 2 or more parties. A cease and desist letter is not going to be filed in court. Therefore, you can serve one to someone's email. You don't need their phone number, Greeno, and they're also free. You can do them yourself. Filed in court, rather, this letter will be sent to the individual or business you have conflict with to ask them to stop an activity that you believe is infringing on your rights. A cease and desist letter is also commonly referred to as a stop harassment letter or a demand letter, except it has to be, false. How is it used? Letters will put an individual or business on notice that they are engaging in some sort of activity that you believe harms you. And the letter lets you know that if they do not stop, you will be pursuing legal action against them. These letters are meant to serve as harsh warnings, though they do not have any immediate legal consequences concerning the courts or other government agencies. Okay, so that's what a cease and desist is. Intimidation. See. Oh, I think that's on one of my other ones. Intimidation. A person who communicates a threat to another person with the intent that the other person engage in conduct against the other person's will, that the other person be placed in fear of retaliation for a prior lawful act, or of causing a dwelling, a building, or other structure or vehicle to be evacuated, or interfering with the occupancy in a dwelling, building, or structure or vehicle, commits intimidation, a Class A misdemeanor. However, the offense is a level 6 felony if the threat is to commit a forcible felony. The person to whom the threat is communicated is a law enforcement officer, a witness, is an employee of a school or school corporation, is community policing volunteer, Is an employee of the court, is an employee of the probation department, is an employee of the community corrections program, is an employee of a hospital, church, or religious organization, or is a person that owns a building or structure that is open to the public, or is an employee of the person. So you got to be real careful with who you intimidate because you don't know what jobs they hold. The threat is communicated using property, including electronic equipment or systems of a school. While committed, the person draws or uses a deadly weapon, which Greeno has done before. The person to whom the threat is communicated is a judge or bailiff. Well, he has threatened a judge before. Well, I don't know. Is get fucked a threat or not? Is a prosecuting attorney communicates, includes posting a message electronically, including a social networking website. A threat means an expression by word or action of an intention to unlawfully injure the person, threaten or another person, or damage property. Unlawful subject a person to physical confinement or restraint. Commit a crime, unlawfully withhold official action and cause such withholding. Unlawfully withhold testimony or information with respect to another person's legal claim or defense. Harassment. A person who, with intent to harass, annoy, or alarm another person, but with no intent no intent of legitimate communication. Think about that one. Makes a telephone call, whether or not a conversation ensues. Communicates with a person by telegraph, mail, or a form of written communication. Transmits obscene messages. Uses a computer network. Communicate with a person or transmit to obscene messages or indecent or profane words to a person. A message of obscene if the average person applying contemporary community standards finds the dominant theme of the message taken as a whole appeals to the prurient interest in sex. It goes on to say a few other things. A person who knowingly or intentionally refuses to yield a party line upon request by another person who states that he wishes to make an emergency call from a telephone line. And I think I had one more to read. No, I already read it. So just some things to keep in mind when you're moving forward with what you post online, what you say to other people. Make sure that it's true. Make sure it's true. And make sure that you're not accusing other people of things like what I've been accused of being a fornicator, which I am not. I've been accused of being a doxer, which I am not. I have never publicly put out someone's address or their name unless they put out their name. And I've never even, maybe I have a couple times. I don't put people's addresses out there or their phone numbers. I do openly talk about Greeno. Again, he's made himself a public figure, and he is a true crime case because he is a habitual offender and a felon. And those are felony habitual offenses, and he pled guilty to them. So I think I have covered everything that I wanted, and I didn't even have to use. Oh, wait, what's this one? Oh, we already read that one. So we're good. All right, I'm done. DUN. Anybody have anything they want to talk about? Yeah. Hi, Ivy girl. About time you showed up. I think you forget about, or you probably had to work. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna leave this screen. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't too overwhelming. Oh my goodness. I do have an excerpt that I wanted to close with. So I'm going to do this, and then if anyone has anything they want to talk about for a few minutes while we wait for HCC to go live at 11:30, let me know. I know. I said that as you typed. Oh, that's my article I already read. This is from a book that I read a long time ago. It's called Who's Pulling Your Strings by Harriett. Where'd her name go? Braiker. It's a great book. It's super easy to read, and it just flows really well, and it's to the point and direct, and my kind of book. And I was just going to read a couple things. Have you ever felt as though someone is pulling your strings, making you do things you would rather? Oh, I was going to share my screen so you can see it. I know some people like to read along. Okay. Preferred, making you do things you would rather not, or stopping you from doing things you would prefer to continue. Have you tried to untangle the strings only to find that you become more entrapped with each futile struggle? Manipulation respects no relationship boundaries. It can invade your most intimate personal relationships with your spouse or lover. It can happen at work with peers and non peers alike. Manipulative relationships occur in families, organizations, friendships, professional relationships, and even at churches, synagogues, mosques, and other places of worship. There is no age limitation or gender preference. Men and women of all ages and sexual orientations can be manipulated and be manipulative and manipulated. And whenever life transitions, positive or negative, take place there with their inevitable stress, uncertainty, and anxiety, the red carpet is unfurled for manipulation. Ironically, manipulation takes particular hold in those relationships where you have the most to gain and or the most to lose. These include your most significant bonds, your family, marriage, romantic partner, co-workers, friends, even your mentors and advisors. If someone is pulling your strings, then I have written this book for you. Control and counter control. This is really important to know. When you participate in a manipulative relationship, you unwittingly collude with the person who seeks to control you. Every time you can comply, what is that word? Capitulate, cave in, or otherwise satisfy your manipulator's wishes and purposes, you reinforce the toxic cycle that is compromising your self-esteem, co-opting your values, and corroding your emotional wiring. Being manipulated is a highly stressful experience. It is unpleasant, demeaning, and disturbing, and it is harmful to your physical health too, literally. I wrote this book for people who are targeted, exploited, and controlled by manipulators. I did not write this book to enlighten manipulators about the unfairness of their tactics and purposes, nor do I expect to change the minds or methods of manipulative people by appealing to them directly. These would be futile exercises. Instead, I wrote this book to make you and other victims of manipulation aware of your counter control. And I intend to empower you to use that counter control. I realize that your participation in the manipulation probably has made you feel quite powerless. This is what the manipulator wants you to believe. However, the truth is that you hold the key to either making the manipulator successful or foiling his or her efforts. Manipulation is used because it works. As long as you allow a manipulator to exploit and control you, he or she will continue to manipulate. However, if you make the manipulation ineffective by changing your behavior, the manipulator will be forced to change tactics or to seek an easier target elsewhere. You are not likely to change a manipulator by pointing out that her tactics are unfair or that you feel unhappy with the way the relationship is going. To put it bluntly, manipulators do not care about your feelings. They are out to serve one purpose: to advance their own interests and goals, frequently at your expense. If you benefit from a manipulative relationship, it is merely accidental. Did you hear that? If you benefit from a manipulative relationship, it is merely an accident. You can, however, exercise counter control to change the power balance of the relationship. When you stop rewarding manipulative tactics by ceasing to cooperate, comply, please, act, whatever, apologize, or respond to intimidation or threats, you will unilaterally alter the nature of the manipulative relationship. Then you can stop or at least begin to reverse the emotional havoc that the relationship has wreaked. Manipulation versus influence. To manipulate, according to Webster's, is to control or play upon by artful, unfair, or insidious means, especially to one's own advantage. To change by artful or unfair means to serve one's purpose. For the purposes of this book, as well as all of, wanted to stop at a certain place. Harmful experience. Manipulation reinforces dependency, helplessness, and victimization. In turn, these rigid roles constrict the relationship's capacity to function or grow normally in a healthy and balanced way. Under the burdensome weight of manipulation, relationships stagnate into a highly lopsided power imbalance. As long as the manipulation persists, the manipulator grows seemingly stronger and bolder in his tactics. Although insecurities and fears may lie within, and the victim grows weaker and even more compliant, even as hostility grows within. Manipulation is different from and should not be confused with legitimate, direct, above-board influence. We all engage in attempts to influence others. In some relationships, such as a parent-child, teacher-student, and therapist-patient bond, attempted influence in the service of the target's best interests and needs is central to the definition of roles. Healthy, appropriate influence generally is shaped by a process of reward. It is guided by open, honest, and direct communication. Strategies of threats and coercion are not used. The agenda or purpose of the influence is defined and made public to the participants. In contrast, manipulation thrives in an atmosphere of indirect, hear that word, devious, and even deceptive communication. Hear that word as well. Agendas frequently are hidden and purposes disguised, threats intimidating. Oh, I've read to my end. But that's good because that's enough. But I think you kind of get the point. And now you have to remember that if you are in an abusive, manipulative relationship, you have to keep yourself safe in that. Okay. And I would like to make one last appeal. Greeno is behind bars. He can't hurt you. Test this theory. See what happens if you tell him no. See if a different side comes out when he doesn't get what he wants from you. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to talk about it. Just let it be something that you are just getting a gauge for what he is like. And I guarantee you he's not going to pass the test. And please remember that you cannot love yourself if to love someone else and that is at your detriment. You cannot love yourself. You have to love yourself enough to know that you don't deserve to be treated in an unloving manner. You don't deserve to have harsh words or, "Oh, I'm just so frustrated. I'm just so this is all just getting to me and I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry, baby. It's not you, it's me. I mess up. I did it again. I messed up. I'm so sorry. But it's just that you are so frustrating. Like, you're the reason I'm in here. And now I need you to do these things for me and you won't do them. And I need you the most. And you're the love of my life." And buts. When those are take up the majority of that conversation. And then when the person doesn't get their way, see if he, when told no, flies off the handle. See what tactics, because he'll probably use a few. If he hasn't already, he'll use a few and just test that, because right now you are safe. Like, he can't physically hurt you. And so just to see what kind of a man that you're signing up to live the rest of your life with, I implore you, please, just please, 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 before he gets out and you have him around yourself and your children, please, don't ignore those signs. And that's all I have. And we have about 9 minutes. Yeah, you can't. You can't love somebody if you don't love yourself. And you have to love yourself enough to realize that, of like, if you have to love yourself less in order to love someone else or to continue to love someone else, you gotta go. Because the moment we are okay with loving ourselves less in order to love someone else, we lost. We lost. And I don't want you to lose any more. And I don't want any victims to lose any more than what they've already lost. So please love yourself enough to know that you are worthy. You are better than he could ever even care to find out. And look at his situation and look out for those manipulative, coercive, threatening, intimidating tactics, because I guarantee you he's going to go from this one, and when this one doesn't work, he's going to, if he's groveling and he's so sorry and crying, then he's going to do that one. And then he's going to, go into the angry and the blame and the gaslighting and the, just the hate. And the flip's going to be like that. It's going to be so fast, because that's how they operate. That's what they do. And then you'll probably get that calm, that say something really messed up, but say it in a very monotone, calm way to where that almost scares you more. And then when they run out, they may run back through that pattern again, but then eventually it's going to escalate. And right now it can't. It can't escalate to anything more than words. And so please just consider my words, consider, don't even have to listen to me. You can listen to anybody, fine. Dr. Phil has a great series on abuse. There's so many great places that, you don't have to listen to me. Like I'm, like, see, it's all flipped. But, yeah, just, please consider that and know that I am not mad at you. I don't blame you. I know what Greeno's like. I'm mad at him. This is all him. And I just don't even waste my time being mad at him because he's not going to give a fuck. And I'm not going to give a fuck about him and his threats and his trying to intimidate me into being silent. I will continue to tell the truth. And on that note, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I so appreciate all of you. And hopefully, please do come over to Hoosier Cold Cases. He is going live in 6 minutes, and he is a good friend of mine. And I appreciate what he's trying to do. It's going to be good. Trust me. Good night, guys.